Why do you think so many people tend to relapse and fall back into old patterns and habits?
Well, first of all, they probably don't know that they need to rewire their brain. The brain consists of 100 billion nerve and brain cells, and it's a neuroplasticity phenomenon. That means the brain is able to rewire itself to consistently change according to what we are paying our attention to, what is important. So if you learn a new language and you pay attention to a particular verb and you learn it, and by the repetition of putting your attention on that, the brain is rewiring and creating a new structure that allows you to have a pattern speaking the language without thinking about it. So when we take a look at the brain and discover we have negative belief systems and we have all these stressful projections into the future that make us all cuckoo, then we need to rewire our brain. So when you are in a burnout and you have now by force time to reflect and to revisit your values and all the rest of it, the brain also needs time to rewire, and you need to know how to do that. We teach neuroconditioning, which is a very successful method in order to rewire the brain. So only when the brain is rewired, then the change is sustainable. The likelihood that you fall back into old patterns is very little. So that is a part of it. You still will need to answer all the important questions and to make the inventory. So it's a package. All these elements together give you not only a liberation from the burnout and bring back all your energy, but it gives you literally a new life that has much more meaning than the current one that you probably have. Mm. Also, to purify your environment. Look, if you come out of an old pattern and you are still having an environment that was built by you being in the old pattern, then everything in that environment is triggering that old pattern. That's why in addiction psychology, they always say, well, you need to change your circle of friends. You know, if you have a circle of friends that supports your old habits, you go to rehab, you clean now, you go back to the same circle of friends, it triggers like this, and you cannot uphold the energy to resist, and then you fall back. So if you have the same pictures, the same music, the same furniture, the same clothes, and all the rest of it that reminds you of the old you that you don't want to be any longer, there's only one way. You need to purify it. Yeah, send it all to eBay. Give it to charity. Clean it all out. Paint your walls in a different color. Just become a new you. And then you see you cannot fall back into old patterns. Internally, you need to remove the roots that got you into trouble in the first place. These are childhood traumas that are unresolved. As long as you have an unresolved issue in your childhood, that everybody, by the way, has, not only one, that leaves you in a deep identification that you may not be conscious of, that you're not good enough, that you're bad, that you're insufficient, that you're not lovable. If that is in your system, and I suggest you take a good look because it is, then you need to revisit that event and resolve it so that from there, there's no energy any longer spilling into the present moment in an unconscious way that creates a feeling in you which forces you to do exactly the things that are in alignment with that tragic identification. So that you can do. Therapeutic measurements, yes, we have retreats for that where we help people to get all these weed outrooted with the root. Because if you leave it in there, if you just do affirmations and things like that, it doesn't really help. You need to go all the way down there and get on the root and root it out. Then the field is clean. And lastly, you need to find out who you really are. As I mentioned in the beginning, until you find your north, your true north, until you finally hit what you're here for, why your soul has incarnated, if I may use that language. But today in 2020, everybody or most people will understand what I mean by that. Until you hit that holy grail of your purpose, it's still a dangerous route for you to go, because you never will feel really fulfilled. So you still will look for external stuff in order to get this feeling of emptiness away. But the feeling of emptiness is immediately away once you live your life's purpose. Then you're fulfilled. And then you don't need all that stuff, and you cannot fall back into a pattern.
Okay, wow. Yeah, you shared a lot of really, really great insights there.